good to be alive. Good to be alive. Yeah, it's good to be alive. And we all want to see you thrive. Hang on for the ride. This is Paul Vibes, bringing you a spiritual flow and information that can remedy the soul. A man for the people. Message in a bottle, but he threw it in a podcast. Now it's full throttle. Life is never hollow. But if you ever feel twisted or need to be lifted, yo, my man is gifted.
We depend on nature not only for our physical survival. We also need nature to show us the way home, the way out of the prison of our own minds. We get lost in doing, thinking, remembering, anticipating, lost in a maze of complexity and a world of problems. We have forgotten what rocks, plants, and animals still know. We have forgotten how to be still, to be ourselves, to be where life is, here and now.
So powerful.
And on that note, Paul Vibes here. Welcome to another episode of the People's Podcast. As you can tell, a lot has changed. We don't just have new guests. We got a new sign, new shirt. Everything's always improving and growing, and we're adapting and learning.
New coasters.
Yes, new coasters. Now, before we introduce our very special guest, we have a coming back
recurring
guest. The word. Sometimes I forget my words. I can think of Alicia here. We have a recurring.
Alicia. Yes. I'm so honored to be here once again. Thank you so much, Paul.
You traveled very far to come here.
Yeah, so it's all the way down the road and up, up the hill.
Yes. And before we forget, let's give Owen.
Yay!
Owen from here, the Oracle. That was the most awkward. That was the best hug for us.
It was a positive force field energy hug. He felt all the energy coming from both of us.
Bring it all in. Bring it all in.
But Owen, cheers. You got your good vibe mug.
Got the good vibes.
Yes. Welcome back, Alicia. So, Owen, we're pretty new friends, right? And Alicia, you haven't known Owen that long either, right? Same amount of time?
Yeah, we met each other around the same time. Yeah, but it feels like Owen has been in our friend group for such a long time because of how well he meshes with us and his energy.
That's very true, and we're not going to touch on all the amazing things Owen. We're going to touch on a little bit, but if what we talk about interests you and you want to learn more, we're going to give his contact information because you were only here for a short time.
Yeah, that's right. I will be moving to be with my wife in Wales, in the United Kingdom.
That's
Congratulations!
Awesome.
So yeah, we're getting our first house together. We're looking to start a family together, and so yeah, we have a lot of. It's like a lot of goodness coming into our lives, and meeting you guys both was a blessing, a gift, and it's just getting better and better. It's like Merlin said. I wish for my life to improve every day in every way.
Cool. Well, I definitely feel that way. And we appreciate being your friend and getting to know you, even if it's for a short time. But like you said, you'll be visiting with your wife down the road. And you said that we're always able to come visit you as well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You guys are welcome, and some of you guys in the
that are watching are welcome. I mean, this is not an open invitation for all of you to come to our house.
It's a lot of people.
Boundaries here. Boundaries.
Hey, Owen, you're inviting us, right?
And have someone be like, show up at our house like, hey, I saw you on the podcast. You invited me to your house.
We're the people. The people's podcast. Yeah, right.
So people, you have to get permission. These two have permission to our house.
And you know what? Boundaries.
Built up that relationship
I'm not saying no,
yeah.
but I'm also not saying yes.
I think the viewers would like to hear, so right now you've been away from your wife for some time, but you guys still have this amazing divine connection together, and I feel like a lot of relationships right now are experiencing this, time apart from their partners with COVID-19. And, how has that been for you, and, you being so spiritually connected to your wife as well?
Yeah, so as my mentor, Alton Sanders, put it, we talked with him fairly recently, and he was saying, you're being tested in a way that you're strengthening your energy bond. So I would say for all those people that I feel and have so much compassion and empathy for all those people that are going through difficulties at the border, being long distance from somebody that you love romantically or even family-wise, it's so important to be eternally optimistic, right? So we have infinite reasons to be pessimistic or negative. We also have infinite reasons to be positive.
Good point.
So true.
So taking it as an opportunity to, instead of feeding your fears or feeding your lower vibration emotions, your lower energy emotions, go ahead and do what you can to improve your relationship, not just with your partner, if you have a partner romantically, but improve your relationship with yourself, with your soul, and with all beings. Because if you can find love within your own heart first, make that overflow, and bring that love to even the tiniest of plants, and as many people as you can, it improves all your relations. Instead of just focusing, laser focusing your love on one person or one place or one thing, focus on expanding it. Because if I say I expand my love from just my personal friend group, or my personal people that I appreciate, or the animals or plants that I like, if I expand that bigger and bigger and bigger, all of a sudden, not only am I feeling better about the way I'm relating to the world, but I'm also helping other people to feel that loving presence. You know, like you and Paul both have such a loving presence, and it's so important to have that in life, not just for your own well-being, but for people who meet you. You never know how you can influence somebody's...
It's like a domino effect in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I agree with that, and I think that you know, it's almost like you see some people who have so much suffering, and it's like the continuation of past suffering. So things have happened in their life, maybe by their parents or loved ones, and then they continue that suffering. But we have a choice, and Alicia talks a lot about this as well, is like we have a choice to play the victim or to play the victor. And it seems like we do our best, and most of the time we are able to come up as the person that's taking charge of our life. You know, and I like that what you said about continuing. You can continue the suffering, or you can stop that cycle.
Yeah, that's an excellent way of putting it. And as somebody like myself who's studied a lot of different Eastern and Western healing modalities, they have this phrase, hurt people, right?
Yes.
So you have this phrase where somebody who's been abused becomes an abuser, or somebody who's been hurt becomes somebody who hurts others. I say hurt people can hurt people, but hurt people can heal people.
That's true.
Right?
That's
You can be like the allegory or the legend of the phoenix. Like you take yourself and you feel that pain, that burn, that sort of ashes of your past, and allow yourself to make something beautiful out of it. Because out of all the suffering that I've had, just like everybody has had in life, I've had an opportunity to either go up or down with it.
Talk about, I just want to add that word transmutation. I know you talk about it. I have to say, Alicia, as you know, recently shared her story at an event I held, and a lot of people might look at you and all the positive things you do or you do, and if they don't get the time to get to know our story, they just look at someone that even may come across fake, because they see us, right? And they see all the pain in the world,
That's so true.
and they say, oh, that they must be pretending, or it's fake, it's an act. But when they get to know us, the reason I feel, I might be wrong, but I feel the reason why we do a lot of the work we do, people like us, is because we know what it's like to suffer. We know what it's like to be in pain, and we choose every day. It's not always easy. I don't know about you two, but it's not easy for me all the time. Sometimes it isn't always easy to have the best vibe.
It's always like the hardest path to take, to choose that optimism, to choose that happiness, because it's almost like our visceral reaction as human beings to see the negative in these situations, right? So once we experience that negative, it's about pushing past that and truly finding that optimism, and that takes a lot more work than just sitting in that pessimistic place and saying, oh wow, the world sucks, like my situation sucks. It takes a lot out of a person in terms of self-development and self-love to really push them through that. And I feel like a lot of the work that Owen does as well helps people to really get to know themselves in that way and prepare them to kind of like, shift their perspective in their life.
And that is a beautiful segue, because you want to talk about, and we honestly didn't have a set theme what we wanted to talk about. We were like, let's just get Owen, Alicia, I wanted to.
It only took 2 hours to get ready now.
Listen, that's a whole nother podcast. But But this idea of our past holding us back, right? People's past in this present life, and then people believe a lot of people who really feel that their past lives, things that happened in their past life, is holding them back. And it's really funny that this conversation of learning from your suffering and your pain came up, because we really didn't even know what we wanted to talk about. But I kind of feel as the host, that's kind of where the conversation is going on how the viewers, I know people can schedule one-on-one, you do a lot of different modalities, but I want to talk to you guys about, and for the viewers, of what are things possibly in their past, in their current life or past lives, that might be stopping them from living to their full potential. Because there's a lot of things holding us back sometimes they're not even aware of.
Definitely.
Yeah, so my alias, or my alter ego, is Oracle Owen. So like Paul said, I do a lot of different healing modalities, but specifically what I've been called to do by the public, by the people coming to meet me, by the majority of interest, is work with what's called the Akashic Records. So like Alicia and like many people in this world, I am a clairvoyant or a psychic, right? Always having dreams of the future, being in deja vu moments like that show they used to have, That's So Raven. That's like my life all the time.
And clairvoyance means the ability to see and perceive beyond the senses.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, to answer your question, Paul, is people can activate their higher potential through their intuition. And your intuition comes from sensitivity, right? So when we talk about sensitivity, we're talking about how profoundly or how deeply are you able to feel your environment, both your internal environment and your social environment and your physical environment. So a lot of times when people are having a difficult experience in transcending or raising themselves out of depression or anything that would be perceived as negative, the problem they have is they get stuck in this purgatory, this sort of in-between space, this gray space, whereas they don't want to feel the bad. And I say it's the opposite.
Yeah.
With psychic work, with meditative work, with any work that allows you to feel more, you want to allow yourself to not just feel more happiness and more love. You want to also feel deeper your sadness and your sorrow and your depression and your pain. You want to be able to feel that. Because if you can feel that, then in the emotional roller coaster of life, you can feel also your joys deeper. So a lot of times I think that is the problem that people are occurring. They're desensitizing themselves. They're desensitizing themselves to things that hurt them socially, things that hurt them physically. They're desensitizing rather than what I say is feel it to heal it.
Definitely.
Right? So if you have trauma, and we all have trauma, and to judge someone's trauma as, oh, this person suffered more than I did, or you suffered less than I did, is irrelevant. Yes. Everybody has trauma. Earth is a very hardcore and a very beautiful place.
They say it's like the school, right? Like we're here to learn and move through these lessons.
Yeah. So there's hard lessons and there's easy lessons, and we've all had those punch you in the face, put your face in the mud, hard lessons. You want to be able to feel it to heal it. Essentially, you want to be able to, when you have anxiety or you have something going on, anything, could be anything, let yourself feel it. Because allowing yourself to feel that trauma is the sort of key to the door that lets you out of it.
It's almost like transmuting, would you say, in a way? You're transmuting the suffering into closer to maybe enlightenment or into spiritual development. We were just reading some Eckhart Tolle. He talks a lot about that, how suffering is our greatest teacher, and I know Alan wants to probably say
I was literally going to pull out a quote.
Alicia talks about this stuff.
So there's this book called The Meaning of Happiness, and it's by Alan Watts, and I'm reading it right now, and he talks about exactly this. And he's like, basically the meaning of happiness is that we have to experience the darkness to be able to fully experience and understand what happiness is. It's because of that duality, that contrast in life that helps us to truly understand what it is to be happy. So without having experienced the sadness, we couldn't have fully stepped into that full breath of happiness.
And before I get back to you, Owen, I just want to say it's oftentimes the people that we think are, before my spiritual development, you maybe look, before you're really into spirituality, you might look at somebody, right, and say, they're helpless, they're hopeless, there's no help for this person, there's just so much suffering, they're so destructive in their own lives, and others no hope. But as you realize, for me at least, as I go more into my spiritual development and journey, it's oftentimes those who are experiencing the most pain, we call it the pain body, the most suffering, that actually have, they're the closest to that. Because as soon as you surrender and accept what is, and you start going into the spiritual journey, you realize that you don't need to suffer. A lot of our suffering is caused by ourselves.
Self-induced.
Self-induced,
That's so true.
And just like we can self-create our own suffering, we can also self-create our own bliss and our own joy. And that's to go back to transmutation, as I consider myself a master of transmutation. And I wouldn't say that just to fluff my own cloud. Transmutation is all about taking something that feels so dark, so painful, so, even if it's like a little bit, that person has bad vibes or whatever, taking that and taking unconditional love. Not just unconditional love, but unconditional joy, courage, strength. All of these meditative lessons that my teachers and mentors have passed on to me, whereas you're taking an experience, right? You're taking this painful trauma in your life, and you say, I'm going to put unconditional love into this experience and transform that emotion into an emotion or an energy, as we would say, into something that I can utilize for my life. So to make that much more practical and scientific minded, say for example, with my own experience when I was younger, big social anxiety, like as what you would consider an empath, somebody who feels the emotions of others. It was hard for me to be in a social environment, as well as dealing with depression, handling different traumas in my life in a way that was deepening into sadness rather than ascending into joy. But within those deepenings into sadness and going deep within the darkness, that was where I found my light, and that was where I can tell you firsthand right now, I can help people out of that. And I know how to transform that because I've been there. And I'm living proof that you can be somebody who has a really tough time with life in general, like not even wanting to be here. And to squeeze and to love the world and love your own soul and everybody's soul enough to the point where you could, amidst all the darkness, all the chaos, be in that eye of the storm and say, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, and have that open heart. And
That's really
that
cool.
open heart allows you to have that deeper strength.
I feel it. I feel love.
Feel love. Well, you guys, hey, you don't even get to say anything after that. That was beautiful. Talk to as we kind of head towards the tail end of this podcast, I want to share with the viewers a little bit more about how you would do that with them. What it's called again, what's the process, and so, besides reaching out and learning more, which I recommend all of you do, even if you can't, you're not looking to hire anybody right now, Owen's very approachable, and he's here for a month, but he will be visiting again, and he can do some of this stuff possibly through Zoom. So share with us, maybe what the process is when you work one-on-one with somebody.
Yeah, so basically, my main modality that I share, and I share it online over video call, actually, it's the predominant primary form of communication.
Perfect.
Is Akashic records. Akashic just means formless or shapeless in Hindi or Indian language. And India, like where the yogis are from, not India, where Christopher Columbus thought he was in India and was like, oh, look at these Indians who are Native Americans. Not that, although they also do work in that realm of meditation. Anyways, Akashic means formless. Records is like a library. So Akashic Records is the spiritual cosmic library that holds all the information of the whole universe. So you're not just allowed in there, you know, like the cosmos isn't just like, yeah, come on, everybody in, let's go. It's like you have to do a lot of work, a lot of studies
training,
to get there. So what I do is, because I've been granted permission by spirit, by mentors, by masters of this work, is I will take anyone that comes to me and wants to experience this through a guided meditation, a healing meditation that works with 3 energy centers in the body. So I work with your solar plexus, work with your heart and your crown. Right, and this was taught to me by my sensei, my psychic elder, so to speak. And so I use his technique, and following that, I call in your soul guides, your ancestors, your spirit animals, all the heavenly beings that are supporting you from the other side. I call them in and they basically do the work through me. And I'm narrating a story of your past and present lives so as you can deeper understand yourself. And based on your intention, whatever intention you come to me with, that's going to shape your experiences. So to give a little bit more insight into this, everyone has a soul, and this soul is energy, and this energy is immortal. So there's many different philosophies that incorporate reincarnation, and the Hindus or the yogis are one of them, and that's where my art comes from. It comes from ancient India, and I want to make sure that's stated to give it honor. So these souls have taken many different forms, infinite different forms, depending on how old our soul is. So I've been a tree, a turtle, I've been
an owl.
African, Native American, Chinese, Alaskan, alien, all these different forms. So your intention shapes what you're going to see. So if somebody, for example, says, I want to be more masterful in life, I want to have more ease in life, then they're going to be shown a masterful lifetime. They're going to be shown a version of themselves in the past which activates that within them. And a lot of times people, actually most of the time, people will be crying during this because they feel it. They feel that kind of like, you get this tears of joy, the kind of truth tears. And we're all familiar at a soul level with who we've been. We gravitate towards places, people, things, philosophies for a reason. It's soul familiarity. So I am basically the clear channel that says, like, here's you in all your karma. I won't sugarcoat if you've been a terrible person in the past life. I will tell you, hey, this was your karma. Let's clear it up. How can you clean that karma up, and how can you embrace more joy and love in your life, more peace, more serenity? I also won't hesitate to be like, you are the master, the architect of many different majestic, wonderful things in reality, and I will praise you in that way.
I actually did a reading with Owen as well, and it was really an incredible experience, like how deeply he was able to go and just, take me through different past lives and kind of understand that interweaving and that connection, and it's really powerful to have that experience,
Yes, and
it's
for
something
Alicia to
that's so
say
deep.
that, for those who know Alicia, she doesn't pass on those compliments. She's nice to everybody, Alicia. But you mean that, because I remember you said that, like, Paul, listen, I had a great session with Owen, and for me to say that, and I know, and it's funny because you talk how people walk out crying, and I've known Alicia walk out crying, and some people cry for my talks too, but they cry because they want to get out so quickly. They start crying. This guy doesn't stop talking. Paul vibes. We're like, Paul cries. But seriously though, what's cool is at first, you almost want to make a joke, like people are crying and all these different things. Is it a good thing? But sometimes.
But it's like
release.
this really deep release. That's exactly what it is. It's like really this deep release and this understanding, because so much of what you experience in the reading helps you to heal what's currently going on in your life. And that's like the important part. It's like kind of identifying that, you know, there might be something in the past that's holding you back from your ideal future.
Yes. And you know what? I don't know how this is going to come out, but a lot of people might hear this, and even myself, and be like, what the heck are you talking about?
Oh boy.
But if you look at, and now we're not going to go talk about religion, but there's so many different religious beliefs and things. All of it is about belief and all these different stories. You may not believe in Noah's Ark and this and that. The point is, there's a lot of stuff that is out there that we don't even know a percentage about, right? But one thing's for sure, that, you know, humans have been part of this experience for a long time on planet Earth. And this idea of reincarnation is something that a lot of people look into. And there's a lot of people who really believe in this stuff, and it works, you know, getting readings from you. But do you agree that being open to this process helps with it, or oftentimes does it not matter? Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter at all. I've had people literally come to me saying, I don't believe
Any of this.
Prove me wrong. And then
Proven wrong.
20 minutes later, proven wrong, crying, journaling about it.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, I've had all the spectrum. I've had people wide open heart, wide open mind get the same experience. I have yet to have someone, and how the universe works.
Good thing this is wood. Good thing this is wood.
Rather than speaking negative, I'll speaking positive.
Yeah.
Everybody who's experienced the work that I share has had a positive experience, has had a life transformative experience. And for any of you who know me closely, you know there's no reason for me to sugarcoat that, because all the services I provide are donation based.
Wow.
So that means you pay me whatever you wish. You could do a trade with me. You could pay me $1 million. You could pay me a penny. It works along a scale of allowing the energy exchange in a way that I see fits my personal soul and my philosophy, which is I want to be able to offer the service to everyone, not just somebody who has this amount of money, not just somebody who has this amount of notoriety or fame or whatever. I want it to be accessible to anybody who wants to come in.
Amazing.
You know, wants to come in and experience that. And that's just my personal belief. That's not something, I don't want to make it sound like it's the ideal way of living, because there's all different ways of living, economically, physically, spiritually. It's just what I choose because it helps me to focus on helping the person.
Perfect.
And you've been through like a lot of versatile clients, right? So who are some like cool people that you've done? You could share, like, or just in general, you know, like you don't have to say specific names, but just to give people an idea of who you worked with.
I'm a big fanboy of Kai Pacha, who does New Paradigm Astrology, is his Instagram again, and YouTube. New Paradigm Astrology. I just did his reading today. So stoked about that. He's my favorite astrologer. Sorry, everybody else that does astrology. He's my favorite astrologer. My wife and I love him so much.
How did that go?
It went awesome. It really was nice. Like, I was so stoked about it. He was so stoked about it. We were in that like mutually stoked about it phase where
we're stoked about you being stoked.
We're stoked about you being stoked. It's like an endless cycle of being stoked.
Yeah, and then I actually more recently, through mutual friends, have been doing meditations and meditation lessons for Camille Kostek, who is actually the Sports Illustrated cover model. And
shout out to her.
Really, she's like such a good soul. She's like a water fairy, just like really heart of gold, and to be able to work with her was
so
astounding. And I'm always somebody who goes from the heart, right? I feel your heart. I'm not like, oh wow, beautiful, famous, whatever.
Money
doesn't matter, because it could have been like, if she was a jerk, I would have been like, she wouldn't have been in my list of people that I was sharing about.
Yeah.
But she's awesome, like really deeply loving, deeply powerful being. And to make the list short, I'll make 2 more people.
2 more.
My friend Rachel, who's also a friend of Camille. She's a badass. She's super awesome. She's like empowered woman. And then last but most important, my wife.
Aww, yay!
I hope to meet you one day.
She's my biggest fan by far,
Yay.
and she has already probably had 100 readings from me because she's obsessed.
I'm jealous.
And so,
and I look forward
yeah.
just speaking of energy exchange, and as we close up the podcast, you know, he's gonna. I hope it's okay to share. You're gonna do a reading for me as well.
Yeah.
And I look forward to posting about that.
That's awesome.
As we close, I'm gonna have each one of us, leave the viewers. So think about what you want to share with the viewers, and just so people know watching this, we're going to leave in the description all of Owen's contact information. You can blow up his phone number. We'll give you his address. We'll give you social security. No, I'm kidding. He must spit out the water. The good thing he's leaving soon. No, but I'm gonna be including Alicia's stuff. Alicia's a regular guest, and I just want to share with the viewers. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow us, all of our different pages. But also, we're going to be doing a lot more interaction with the viewers. So if you want, even when Owen leaves, if you want me to do, Alicia and I to do a Zoom call with Owen, we can even do live calls. We invite a randomly selected viewer to do readings with Alicia. Also,
comment down below if you want a reading by me.
Yes.
Maybe I'll offer one free reading to
She's trying to be right now. No, but seriously, there's a lot of great people on the podcast, and we want to start doing more live stuff.
Definitely.
One thing I want you to be left with, and everyone's gonna share a little something, is there's a lot going on in the world right now with COVID, and even before COVID, there's gonna be this stuff that was going on. Even after COVID leaves, and there's not. There's going to be challenges. And one thing I want to share with the viewers is to not be hard on yourself, to forgive yourself for even if there's things that you weren't able to accomplish during this time, or you have different issues or different things that you're working on, and you feel like you're not making progress. Don't be so hard on yourself. No one expected this to happen. Maybe these two did. I don't know. This is psychics. But, to be easy on yourself, because often when we are hard on ourselves, we're creating more anxiety, depression, and it affects other people, like that domino effect. When you're anxious, when you're dealing with stuff, it can affect the people around you. For the sake of yourself, the people around you, find ways that allow you to be less hard on yourself, whether that's breathing work, whether it's getting more sleep, eating healthier, drinking more water, getting a therapist, getting a spiritual mentor like the following individuals on this podcast. And always send you good vibes. Who's ready to send the viewers something? Owen?
I think we should leave off with you last, though.
Last? Oh,
Yeah. We want you to be the last word.
Alicia always says, I could wake her up in the middle of the night and she's like, I got something motivating to say.
I just wanted to leave everyone with, if you feel like you're alone, if you feel like, you don't have a good network, that there's always people that you can reach out to, and just, if you feel like right now that you can't find that light, just know that it's within us all, and that there's so many different ways to get there. So, even the fact that you're watching this and that you stayed with us for this time, it's just, feel free to reach out to one of us if you're going through a difficult time, or if you know somebody going through a difficult time. It's about opening up yourself to the world and seeing how the world can help you.
It's beautiful. Thank
Thanks.
you, Alicia. I might hold you up on that. I might call you up.
Master Owen.
Yeah.
Leave us off, Mr. Owen.
The message I'd like to share with you all is allow yourself to resensitize yourself to life. Allow yourself to feel it. Whatever it is that you're feeling, allow yourself to feel it, and allow yourself to be open to that feeling with your friends, with people who will truly receive you. Definitely, you don't have to share everything. It's a powerful message too. It's share with those who you know are gonna receive you well, and just keep riding the emotional roller coaster of life. When you're in a low trough, be like you're riding a roller coaster. Woo! Hands up! Woo! and don't judge. Don't judge. Stop judging. You're hurting yourself and others, closing yourself down. Don't judge. Just be the observer. Love one another.
Be the observer, Eckhart Tolle.
Beautiful. Owen, on that note,
and
peace
he
and
stole
love.
it from someone else.
Group hug.
It's all from the universal consciousness.
Let's send some peace and love to the viewers. Again, all the contact information will be in the description. Love you all. Send you all good vibes.
Good
Be
vibes.
sure to subscribe.
Like and
follow.
subscribe, Paul Vibes, Instagram, Facebook.
Life is never hollow, but if you ever feel twisted or need to be lifted.